Hi guys, it's Kat back from McAker's homestead, and today I'm super excited. I'm going to be taking you on a full farm tour so you get to see all the areas of our farm. Now this farm tour, sorry that's a cardinal, this farm tour is going to be at the end of April 2022. This is our first year out here on the farm. So we've already got a garden started. We've got some stuff put in the garden, but it's not really taking off yet. We haven't done a ton of work, so I'm excited to show you kind of some before shots of what our property looks like the first year we're here. And it's absolutely beautiful. We're in peak springtime right now, so everything is blooming and flowering and greening out. It's absolutely beautiful. So before we get started, I wanted to show you kind of an overview of the property, like where I'm going to be taking y'all around. So I've done a little watercolor painting of our property just because I don't have a drone or anything, so I figured this is the best way to show you kind of an overview. Alright guys, so here's that overview watercolor. Feel free to pause the video right here if you want to take a look for your own reference. But where I'm going to be starting this tour is right here at our front driveway. Then I'll take us in, we'll look at the big farmhouse and talk about where we're living right now. We'll go back through the backyard and then swing around, and I'll talk about where we're going to be putting our chickens, as well as take you into our coop. And we'll talk about the barnyard, our antique 100-year-old barn, and then we'll swing over into the garden. I'll talk about what we've already done this year and what we're still planning to do. Then we'll go over actually into the pasture, our 10-acre back pasture. I'll take us by the old pond. Then we'll swing back over into the vineyard. It's one of my dad's projects, and we'll talk about what he wants to do with the woods. Alright, so like I said, we're starting in the front driveway of McAker's farm right now. So to the right of the driveway, you can see behind me we have the original big farmhouse. My great-grandparents actually built that house. You can see it's really big and nice when they moved here in the 20s. And since then, it has had a pretty long history of people living inside it. The last occupants were renters, and then my dad was renting too, and they kind of trashed the place. So right now, it doesn't have a kitchen or a functioning bathroom. So it's actually not livable, which is a shame because it's really pretty and a really good size. So maybe that's a future project for Ben and I to fix up. Maybe have as like a workshop or community center type space. But right now we are living in this structure on the other side of the driveway. So there's two garages on the bottom. We use those for storage. My dad has a bunch of his tools in there, and then we are living up on the top level. There's an apartment up there with one bedroom and then a front room and a bathroom. So the front room has like the kitchen and the living room and stuff. Maybe we'll do a house tour. I don't know. We haven't, I feel like it's not very impressive. It's not like a big house or anything. So now back behind me, we're moving back into the backyard. So you can see there's the back of the farmhouse, painting over the whole backyard. So that is the van that we took across the country. Right now he's living his life out in retirement. So kind of follow me. We'll go back this way. I'm learning how to like walk backwards and talk at the same time. So this is pardon me for my learning. So right here behind me, you can see the world's biggest burn pile. We're working on getting that kind of burnt, but right now there's just so much in it that it won't burn. And we're entering in the summer, so it's kind of a dry season. So we would have to pour like a bunch of gas and stuff on it, which is maybe not a great idea right now. But all of this stuff that was in here is stuff that we cleared out of the chicken lot, which I'll show you a little bit later. But that was brushy species like privet, some ivy, like thorny vines and stuff like that. All of those species are invasive to this area, so they were kind of taking over, which is not good. So we cleared the chicken lot out so that A, we can use it for chickens, and B, we can kind of cultivate this area with a bunch of native species, which is one of our priorities here.
One more thing that I love about the backyard is it is full of these massive, gorgeous old hardwood shade trees. So that's something that's super awesome. It provides us a lot of shade, plus some really cool habitats for like squirrels and birds and stuff. So I love having all these big trees back here in the backyard. So that's something that we're gonna keep for sure. Something we're working on though is like that means that nothing on the ground grows very well, so we're trying to figure out some sort of like shady ground cover that we can have back here. Maybe low maintenance, I don't know. Dad kind of likes to come out here. My dad likes to come out here and mow though, so not something super low maintenance or else he won't have anything to do on his weekends. So now we've walked back through the backyard and now we're going into the barnyard. So I'll show you that. And then we're gonna head over to the left, check out this chicken yard back behind me. So I'll kind of walk this way. If you remember on the map, this chicken yard is over to the left of the barnyard, and it kind of cuts a triangle out of the front corner of the barnyard. So we're planning to put chickens in here. We're working on stringing up a fence right now though. This whole area, like I said, was completely overgrown with privet hedge and all kinds of other like brushy invasive species. So we spent the past few weeks kind of clearing that out, getting some room for our chickens to go. There is our chicken coop. That's actually original to the property. It was built probably sometime in the 1930s. So it's really cool. We have a very old, very antique chicken coop. So that's pretty cool. We've done some work in restoring that as well. It might need to be replaced soon, but for now, it's got a lot of charm. So we'll do some more detailed tours of all these different areas once we kind of get some systems set up. Once we kind of get our feet rolling a little bit. So right now in the barnyard, you can see behind me, it's this area right beside the barn. There's some like old farm equipment kind of just sitting there. This area is if we're gonna get some goats or some other like mid-sized animals, this is where they would go. It is mostly fenced in all the way around. You can see there's some holes that we would need to patch, but it's mostly fenced. Right here behind me, this is going to be our future mushroom patch. I think my partner Ben is really into like growing and cultivating mushrooms, so I think this is where he's going to experiment with that a little bit. Just some like rotting logs that we've pulled out of other places in the farm that he's going to see if he can kind of try to grow some stuff on. And then that little looking thing, it's collapsing, it looks horrible, is the old hog wallow actually. So you can see it's definitely like caving in, so we're not gonna put anything in there. We're probably gonna tear that down and put it in the burn pile. This is why we have a huge burn pile, is there's just so much stuff here, which is awesome. Here you can see the tire tracks where my dad like drove through here, and he claims he didn't get stuck, but I don't know, it looks like he got a little stuck. What do y'all think? Did he do it? But that's through our entire yard. We had a really big storm a few weeks ago. So and then on the side of the barnyard we have the barn. Looky there, it's a gorgeous barn, again super old, probably over 100 years old, which is awesome. It's really cute, I love it. But along with that history means that there's like a lot of junk in here. Like you can see, like this entire side little lean-to thing is just full of old equipment, which is kind of awesome for us because we are big on salvaging materials, on using scrap materials where we can. So it's pretty cool that we have all sorts of old equipment that we can use if we need to like grab a bucket for something. There's like tons of buckets in here. But along with that, a bunch of stuff is kind of junk, stuff that we're probably never going to use or is unusable or is rusted through, all that kind of stuff. So I'll try to get up a little bit so you can see the whole barn. Ta-da! It's very big. I'll try to get a better shot for you. So this is the barn. It's really pretty. You can see it's kind of lopsided though. It's not symmetrical because whoever my great-grandparents had building the barn measured the wood wrong, so it's kind of a little lopsided, but I think that gives it character. So I'll definitely, on my list is a barn tour, so you can see kind of what's in all these little cubby holes in the barn. So, because it's just full of stuff, which I think is awesome. So now we're gonna move into the garden. This is definitely the area where we've done the most work, so I'm excited to show you guys this part. So as we first walk into the garden, you can see behind me, these are my compost bins. This I did like all by myself, and I'm very proud of it. So I'm also gonna make definitely another video in the future talking about how I compost, why I compost, what method I use, how often I turn it, what I put in it, all that kind of stuff. So I'm super excited for that. Be on the lookout. And then as we walk deeper into the garden, along the fence row, I'll get us over here. You can see our raised beds. We have beautiful raised beds. We got all these raised beds for $5 a piece. I'm very happy with them. They're working very well. So you can see a little closer, we've got some stuff in them. I'm also planning on doing a full garden tour here in a little bit once it like looks more impressive. Right now everything is like this big, so you can't even really tell what's happening. So I'm excited for that. And then here is our big garden patch, kind of catty corner over from the raised beds. So you can see big old garden patch. And yeah, we told my dad, we were like, yeah, we just want like a small garden this year. And so we set up all the raised beds, and then he was like, nuh-uh. And so he got the tractor fixed and plowed us just a huge row of garden beds. So that's pretty awesome. So we're having like a pretty large in-ground garden our first year, which I was not anticipating, but it's super awesome. We've already got some tomatoes and zucchinis and stuff in the ground. So, and then directly behind our raised beds, this entire fence row is planted with blackberry bushes. So these have been here a very long time. They're incredibly productive, and there is a ton of them. So I am so looking forward to July when we can harvest all those blackberries, make some awesome cobblers and jams, and then back behind this row of blackberries is my favorite part of the farm. This is our back 10 acres. This is our pasture, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Today is a beautiful day to be out here. All of the buttercups are in flower, all the daisies, all the wild peas that we have in here. We have an awesome variety of grasses in this pasture. I know a lot of people struggle with developing their pasture, with preserving a polyculture, with preserving an ecosystem in their pastures, and that is something that we are very fortunate to have. You can even see all the different colors behind me. I am super excited to be doing a pasture tour, kind of be talking about all of the different species of grass and flowering plants that we have growing in here. This field has not really been sown with anything, has not been developed in any way for a very long time. So all kinds of species have taken over and made this place their home. So we have a bunch of honeybees. You can even hear some crickets singing behind me probably. There's a bunch of bugs here. There's a bunch of really awesome pollinators, and this entire field is bordered with trees. So that means it's an awesome habitat for all kinds of birds. You can hear all sorts of birds singing out here all the time. So we definitely have a thriving ecosystem back here on this 10-acre pasture. And I am so excited to be hopefully soon, maybe not like soon, but like to have some sort of ruminant animal out here, because that's how all of these grasses grow, is having an animal that comes and chomps the top part off, and then they send up more shoots. So that's actually part of regenerative agriculture, is having animals to come in and graze on your pasture. So if you can provide, and we have an awesome pasture. I'll see if you can guys, like, look at all that variety behind me. I literally love that so much. So if you can maintain this kind of variety, this kind of biodiversity, that's what grazing animals really love. It's gonna be healthy and happy for everybody involved. That's something that I haven't super talked about, is my farming philosophy on here. So we definitely are trying to practice as many types of regenerative agriculture as we can, as much sustainable agriculture as possible here. I'll talk about my philosophy a little bit more in later videos, but that's sort of where we're coming from, is we want to have something that's good for us and that is also good for the land. So I'm kind of walking out towards our pond right here. So right now, while we don't have any ruminant animals coming in to eat this grass, we actually know a guy who comes in and brings his tractor and bales up all the summer hay. So he comes in and like manually does what ruminant animals would do and like chomps off the top parts of the grass and bales them up into hay, and that's how animals get fed during the winter. So he comes in and does that for us, keeps our grass nice and healthy, and in exchange he takes all the hay to feed his animals. So it works out pretty well. Until we get animals and livestock of our own, that's probably what we'll continue doing, just to keep this ecosystem nice and healthy. So now I'm about halfway back on the left side of our pasture, and I don't know if you can see through the trees. I don't think you can, but this is actually where our little pond is. I'll try to get you in there. I don't think you can see it at all. It's basically like a mud pit today anyways. But historically, that's where the cows would come and drink. So there's like a little water source in the pasture. We probably are going to be clearing that out sooner or later, just so we can sort of revive that little ecosystem. I don't know, there were some ducks in there the other day when I came out here. So maybe that would be something that's in our future. I don't know. We have so many dreams and so little money, so we're just dreaming big right now. So it feels really good. Thank you guys for coming with me. So I'm walking back through our pasture. Next we're going to be going over to the vineyard. That's kind of on the right side of our property. But something else I'm really excited about doing is maybe a video where I go in and identify all the different plants that are growing in this pasture. I'll see if you can see the daisies. See the daisies behind me? Oh, they're so pretty. But there is just so much diversity here, and I would love to capture all of it, see what is growing, see what pollinators we have, see what other species and birds we've got going on here. So I'm super excited about that. I think I could pull it off with the help of INAT and maybe some friends. So we'll see what happens, but follow me to the vineyard. All right guys, so now I'm standing in the vineyard. This is over on the right side of our property. So this is more my dad's project. He's the one that has really been putting the work in over here. So what I'm talking about when I say a vineyard is all of these muscadines that are coming up behind me. So all these vines actually hold muscadines, which I don't know if you guys have had muscadines if you're not from the south, but they're related to grapes. I don't think they are a grape, but they're like related to them. They're about this big, dark purple, really deep purple, and they're more like complexly flavored than a grape. So their skins are tougher and they're more, I guess, savory. I don't know if that's a good word, but very winey. You can make wine out of them. They're very good, and they really kind of only grow around here, I'm pretty sure. So these were actually planted by my great-grandparents. They're super old. They've been here a very long time. So my dad has been cleaning these up. He's working on staking them up right now. You can see those like orange flags, so that hopefully we'll have some muscadines producing this year. I'll see if I can show you. Oh yeah, they're starting to leaf out, which is super awesome. Look at them, so cute. So there's some little babies. They're starting to come in. I don't know if they'll actually do anything this year. You kind of have to stay taking care of them, so we'll see what happens. Also in this area we have one pear tree, two pear trees, but again they've grown up really tall, so a bunch of the pears like form up there, so you can't really get to them. So I don't know if those will produce anymore. Again, that's the thing about this farm, is there's a lot of really awesome raw materials here. There's a lot that's been left here, but it hasn't super been taken care of in the way that it would need to be to keep producing. So that's something that Ben and I will be working on. We'll be taking care of what is already here and kind of restoring it. So that's what we're hoping for. So guys, now the muscadines are behind me and I have walked over to the other side of this patch of orchard. And you can see behind me this brown kind of sandy part. That used to be covered in what we here call cane poles. So it's a species of river cane related to bamboo. I don't think it is bamboo, but it is invasive here again. Ooh. So I'll show you what it looks like. All these little poles. So you can see they grow really tall and they just kind of take over. So all of this is cane poles and nothing else. So they are invasive, they're not native here. So my dad has come through and bush hogged all of them. So all this land behind me used to be cane poles and now it is clear. So I think Dad is planning to do more fruit trees over here, kind of turn this more into a productive orchard area. And so that brings me over to the last area that we're going to talk about today, kind of in the back behind the muscadines and where the cane poles used to be. We have this section. It's probably 2 acres maybe. Sorry, I'm not good with like sizes of acres yet. That's one thing I'm still learning. But this is all, as you can tell, thick, dense woods. There's some really big trees in here, but most of the trees are about 6 feet tall. Just some saplings. My guess for this area is that it used to be productive, again, maybe some sort of orchard, some sort of garden, and then somebody stopped taking care of it, and now there is just thick, dense saplings all the way through here. That's not how a healthy forest works. That's not like good. So I don't know if this area will start to take care of itself or if this is something that we also have to manage. I don't know. Again, like you can't see through it at all, which is kind of par for the course for southern forests. I feel like they're very jungly. But we would like to make sure that this is a healthy forest, that it has everything that it needs to survive very long term. So very thick, dense brush behind me. But our plans for this area it's kind of on the other side of our property. It abuts up to a different road than what we use. So we were thinking maybe clear a little bit of this brush out and put a tiny house Airbnb on here way far in the future, maybe. I don't know. Our area is kind of big on tourism, so that might be an awesome way for us to make some extra cash. I don't know. Also, back at the back, there's these very large trees. So my dad kind of wants to put a tree house up there, uses sort of like a little cabin retreat off-grid. I don't know if he's ever gonna get to that, but that's his plan for this area. And then the rest of it, you can tell, is very thickly wooded. So I'm not sure what we'll end up doing here, but again, it's nice to have this biological reservoir of these trees. Some of them are maples, some of them are oaks. So we have some really good hardwoods growing up in here. So maybe we will transplant some of them and have a more sustainable form of forest in here. Maybe we'll just leave this to do whatever it does. So guys, thank you for coming with me today on our first full farm tour here at McCaker's Farm. Thank you for coming along. It's a beautiful day. Thanks for spending the day with me. I hope if you enjoy our content, if you want us to keep farming, subscribe, comment, like this video. You know the drill. Here on YouTube, you know what to do. But that really does help us out a lot with what we're trying to do here. Also, if you have any questions, let me know what you want to see. One of the reasons that I'm starting this YouTube channel is so I can kind of connect with communities all across the country and the world. So if you're doing the same thing, if you've been wanting to do the same thing, if you want to do a different thing and I'm doing this all wrong, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. I hope y'all are having a great day. What we've got coming up next is probably going to be some individual tours of different areas. So things like the chicken coop, the barn. I'll take you through and kind of dive in deeper about what's going on, what our plans are for each area. So let me know what you think.